Hi, Aaron Parks. So we're about to get started with reading time. Not sure if you're this right here, C++ On for Dummies, 3rd edition. It's got 6 books in one. It's written by John Paul Mueller and Jeff Cogswell. That's what we're going to do. We're starting up with getting more into book 5. Okay, well, hopefully Ryan will make it in. What do I do to the book? Oh, I was doing something silly to books. Okay, let's get started, I guess. All right, so we're starting off with this section right here called Getting the Right Header File. Okay. The Streams library includes several classes that make your life much easier. It also has several classes that can make your life more complicated. I feel like I already read this one, but that's okay. Mainly because these are auxiliary classes, hi Mare, that you'll probably really use. Here are 2 of the more common classes that you will use. And remember, these classes are available in pretty much all C++ implementations, whether the complete standard library is present or not. The IF stream, I stream for input. Hi, Silas. This stream, this is the stream you instantiate if you want to read from a file. And there's the OF stream. This is the stream you want to instantiate if you want to write to a file. Okay, here we go. Before you can use... Hi, Lexi Bear. I'm doing a lot better. Thank you. How are you doing? Oh, my day's going well. Nice and peaceful. Trying to keep things as easy as possible. We just spring forwarded here in California. Yeah. So I am planning on doing a dancing stream later today. But like, 20 minutes sort of thing, 30 minutes sort of thing. Okay, cool. Before you can use the IF stream or OF stream classes, you include the proper header file. This is where things get ugly. In the early days of C++, people, okay, Lexi was excited for dancing time. That's awesome. Thank you. In the early days of C++, people used the header file. Alright. Kind of dragging my feet. Hopefully Ryan made it. Have stream.h, but somewhere I thought if I put this stream closer to the other stream that Ryan was just at, maybe he will be able to get him to this one. We'll see if that worked. But somewhere in the mid-1990s, people started using the standard template library. And in the late 1990s, the standard C++ library, both of which required you to include fstream without the .h. So this instead of that extension. Because we want to stay up to date in this book, we use the ones without the .h. However, the standard template library and the standard library put all the classes and objects inside the std, which you say it as standard namespace. The standard template library and standard library are both C++ libraries, but implement some functionality differently. The article at http://en.wikipedia.org/wiki/standard with a capital S underscore template with a capital T underscore library with a capital L describes. Ooh, sorry, my wrist froze. These differences, but you won't need to worry about them when working through the examples in this book. Thus, when you want to use an item from the stream's library, you must enter prepend its name with standard std, as in this example, std : of stream out file myfile.txt, include a using directive before the lines where you use the stream classes, as in this example, using namespace standard of stream out file myfile.txt. By default, the GCC compiler automatically recognizes the std namespace. It's as if you had a line using namespace standard even when you don't. We focus on the GCC compiler. We don't use either of the two preceding methods. So in this book, they just don't have to worry about either of those things because it's implicitly coded because they're using GCC. So they don't have to worry about doing that or the using namespace. In the spirit of the rest of, remember, in the spirit of the rest of this book, if you're using a compiler other than GCC, we recommend that you follow your hashtag include lines. I like to use GCC, so that's good to know that I don't have to do that. That you follow your hashtag include lines with it, but when I was, so in best case, I will, my new laptop, go ahead and get the virtual box and then be able to put Linux Mint and then use GCC like I prefer to do and not waste all the time trying to figure out the Windows thing, because honestly I could never figure that out properly without having to go off and get Visual Studio, which I prefer not to have to be required to do Visual Studio just to do. It was such a pain in the butt. Remember, it was fine when I was working individually, but working in part of a group, that was such a pain. Remember, in the spirit of the rest of this book, if you're using a compiler other than GCC, we recommend that you follow your hashtag include lines with the line using namespace standard. Then you can type all of the sample code as is throughout this book, including the stream examples, without needing to put standard : before every class or object from the standard library. So, best case, you use GCC. Second best case, you're not using GCC, and all you have to do is at the start of your code, put using namespace standard, semicolon, then you don't have to worry about doing that every single time you want to call something from standard library. Opening a file. Okay, this is new information. I was hoping my timing would work, but I guess it didn't. All right, then. Opening a file. Let's see dot dot dot. Okay. Let's see. What did we call the name of this file? We think it was migrate_chapter.doc. So we go to the word processor, choose file, arrow open, and type migrate_chapter.doc. Oops, we get an error message. The file doesn't exist. Oh, that's right. We haven't written it yet. Instead, we create a new document inside the word processor. Type 800 cool pages over the course of a relaxing evening. And then, when we're all finished, we save the file. Oof, that's a terrible idea. We give it the name migrate_chapter.doc. migrate_chapter.doc. Then we shut down the word processor, hang out by the pool, brag to our friends about the new novels we're writing, and go to bed. The next morning, we open the document. This time it exists, so the word processor opens it and reads in the information. As you can see, two issues present themselves in opening a file. Create a new file. Open an existing file. Here's where life gets a little strange. Some operating systems treat these two items as a single entity. The reason is that when you create a new file, normally you want to immediately start using it, which means you want to create a new file and then open it. And so the process of creating a file is often embedded right into the process of opening a file. And when you open an existing file that you want to write to, you have two choices. Erase the current contents, then write to the file. Keep the existing contents and write your information to the end of the file. This is called appending information to a file. Alrighty. So there's an aside and this lovely box here. Let's go read that. Separating a path name. Everybody wants to be different and unique. The people who wrote Microsoft's MS-DOS operating system, instead of following in the tradition of using Unix's / for a path name separator, decided to use / for a path name separator, thus adding the word /. So instead of using that symbol, they decided to use that symbol. So now you have to add that word, which is the word that represents that symbol, to the vocabularies of millions of people. So today, which is why I have to say / because there is definitely a difference. So today on Windows, you see such path names as C:// my data folder / my messy path / difficult to type / letter to editor .doc. But on Unix, you see / as in / user / something / letter to editor .doc. And if this difference isn't bad enough, think about what the / means in a string in C++. It means that a letter follows, and the compiler interprets the two characters together as something else. For example, that's true. That's a character from C. I remember when I was making a mini shell during my operating systems class that we had to be able to code this in. So /t means a tab, and \n means a new line character. And how do you put a / into a string? You put two backslashes. Ugh, that means the earlier MS-DOS style string, the one with Windows in it, Mr. Bill Gates, must look like this for you to use it in a C++ application. So let's look at that. So to be able to use this in a C++ application, you have to say C:// backslash, no, yeah, backslash, my data folder, backslash, my messy path, backslash, difficult to type, backslash, letter to editor, doc. Yes, you must type every backslash twice if you want the compiler to get the correct string. But instead of doing this, we'd like to propose a much better solution. Don't use backslashes at all, even if you're programming for Windows, or we suppose MS-DOS. Yes, it's true. Stop the presses. Oh, hi, Mofo. Yeah, you could see that. How are you doing? Stop the presses. Call the talk radio show. Announce it to the world. When you write a C++ application on Windows, the libraries are smart enough to know that a forward slash works instead of a backslash. Therefore, you could use this string. Well, cool. I'm glad you're just chilling. That's a fun time. Pretty much me too. I don't like missing the hour, so I'm trying to keep it as cool as possible. So instead, you can write this C : / my data folder / my messy path / difficult to type / learn to editor doc. This book you see us using forward paths. That way our samples work on both Unix and Windows. Sounds like a plan. Yeah, I'm likely going to be trying to code things that will work on. What time am I getting on later? I'm trying to stay in my usual window, which is somewhere after 4. What time is it now? Yeah, pretty much that one. Okay, so back to the main reading here. The file output 01 example code is in listing 1-1 shows you how to open a brand new file, write some information to it, and then close it. But wait, there's more. This version works whether you have the newer ANSI compliant compilers or the older ones. Yeah, I don't really feel like going over too many listings. Again, trying to keep things simple. So the plan is to clear the section, and then there you are. I'm not today, I'm not. Rarity, I'm keeping it mellow today. I do not do well with spring forwards, so I'm trying to build myself up for success here. The signal went bad for a minute? Oh, okay. Well, anyway, I'm just, I was saying I'll probably be hitting somewhere after 4, like I typically end up doing. Like, I don't have a set schedule, but I at least try to make it somewhere after 4 for that kind of thing. And I start this one early, Ryan, because I saw you in the other. Oh, you got your vendor back. Yo, that's great. So I thought, oh, let me try to do C++ for Dummies while I know Ryan is maybe available. So yay. I don't know how long I've been here for, but glad you didn't miss it. Okay. But again, I'm just going to go through the rest of this section, and then that's going to be it for this stream. Gonna keep it mellow. Okay, here we go. Listing. Listing 1-1 using code that opens a file and writes to it. So I'm thinking, okay, so my thoughts are finish up the stream, then grab a quick lunch by myself, then handle the rest of my personal things I need to do on Sundays, and then start some dancing time, which involves making a TikTok, making an Instagram. Of course, the TikTok I back up here to YouTube, and the Instagram carries over to Facebook. I could technically start putting stuff on Lemon. But I don't know if I feel like, no, not today. Today I want to keep things mellow. Huh? Oh, I'm sorry. I hope I wasn't on the list. Of the two, I'm like really, like Wally is awesome, but I love Bender. So hopefully I didn't add to the B list. Listing 1-1 using code that opens. I mean, I'm a total. I haven't seen any of the newer Futuramas. I still need to. I should totally do that. But I'm like really into Futurama. Listing 1-1 using code that opens a file and writes to it. Hashtag include IOStream. Hashtag include upstream. Using namespace standard. Int main. That was 25? I swear, you're right. That was 25. It looked like Wally though. No, not Wally, but Wall, I think EE. You, come on now, don't tell me you haven't seen Wally. Or is it Wall-E? The point is, you need to watch that movie. That is very cute. And, oh, it's Johnny 5 this whole time I thought it was Wally. But technically speaking, I think Wally just, like, the people who made Wally just got inspired by Johnny 5. Because they have the same kind of, um, really, how have you not seen Wally? Go see Wally. All right. I've seen Short Circuit 1. I didn't realize there was this a 2. I saw Short Circuit 1 when I was a kid, so I know what you're talking about Johnny 5. It's tiny. Let me put it that way. Your pictures are tiny in the chat. So I don't know why I was thinking Wally, but that's what I was getting. The second's better than the first? Okay. Well, you're not wrong. I should rewatch Short Circuit 1 with Johnny 5 is live. Ah, that was such a bummer. They were like, oh, like totally messing him up, and that was so sad. And I should watch Short Circuit 2. Not wrong. Oh, like I don't really want to get stuck just doing film reviews or whatever, but every so often it would be kind of fun to like do sci-fi stuff. Especially these days. We seem to be like so trying to make that stuff happen for real. It's like, oh my goodness. Here we go. Listing 1-1. Using code that opens Eva's Nightbot. See, if he never saw Wally, he doesn't understand that reference, though. Oh, it was so funny. One time I was out with my boyfriend and we were doing a thing and we saw somebody had decked out their truck with even Wally, big old stickers. I think they might have personally had them personally made. It was so cute though. Like it was so cute. All right, anyway, listing 1-1 using code that opens a file and writes to it. Yeah, that's what it is. Hashtag include IOStream. Hashtag include upstream using namespace standard. Int main OFstream out file. myfile.txt out file. Hi inline out file.close return 0. I show these so I don't have to see them because I don't have all the time ever. Alright. Where did the other side after we finish this? Hello. The short application listing 1-1 opens a file called myfile.txt. The ... / part of the file path places the file in the parent directory for the example, which is the chapter 01 folder. See the Finding Your File sidebar for details. We will later. It does this by creating a new instance of OFstream, which is a class for writing to a file. The next line of code writes the string hi to the file. It uses the insertion operator, which is the greater than sign and the greater than sign, without spaces or any other thing in between them, just as cout does. In fact, OFStream is derived from the very class that cout is an instance of, and so that means all the things you can do with cout, you can also do with your file. Wow, we know uh, we're excited. It's Mikey No Hearts Tonight bot. Sorry. When we're finished writing to the file, we close it by calling the close member function. This is important. If you want to open an existing file and append to it, you can modify listing 1-1 slightly. All you do is change the arguments passed to the constructor as follows. OFStream out file myfile.txt iOS underscore base ::app. The iOS : app item is an enumeration inside a class called iOS, and the iOS input output, I don't know what that means, underscore base : app item is an enumeration in the class called iOS underscore base. Oof. This the iOS class is the base class for which the OFStream class is derived. The iOS class also serves as a base class for IOFStream, which is for reading files. Oh, now we'll do the, oops. Oh, I just tore the page. Oh, man. I'm just destructive. Finding your files. Whenever you open a new file, you must know where the file is, not just what the file is called. In other words, you need to supply both a path and a file name, not just a file name. Oh man, this is flashbacking me to back when I was first learning C. I think back when I was taking programming languages back in 2015. That is tricky. That's much trickier. I recall it being much trickier than this, because you don't have something. I don't know. The whole process is trickier when you have to fully rely on using pointers. Here, with all of this, you don't necessarily have to use so many pointers to do things, but they're much more tricky. Whenever you open, but Ryan can correct me, I'm sure. Whenever you open a new file, you must know where the file is, just what the file is called. In other words, you need to supply both a path and a file name, not just a file name. You could obtain a path for your file in different ways, depending on your application. But that part, the idea of having another path, yeah, that's something that's also in C. For example, you may be saving all your files in a particular directory. You would then proceed your file names with that directory file. That is path name. That is path. So the directory name also known as the path. The string class makes this easy, as in this code. Const string myPath equals C // Great Software Inc. String file name myPath for / myfile name.txt. Oh yeah, that's what we have to do for C also. OFStream out file name dot C underscore str. The reason we had to call C underscore str on the string is that the OFStream class doesn't have a constructor for a string instance, only a C style string. The C underscore str function returns a pointer. Oh, it is a pointer. To a C style string equivalent of the string. Also, remember to add #include string when you use the string class. Also, when you're using a constant path, as we did in this example, you may instead store the path name It's some initialization file that lives somewhere on your user's computer, rather than hard code it in your application as we did in this example. You may also include an options window where your users can change the value of this path. I remember that was something we had to do, was like try to figure out not the hard code, but like get it geared toward whatever the user setup is. Yeah, that is definitely a good way to do things. Because most of the time you're not just making a program just for yourself. And even if you were, chances are your tech will change later. So you want it to be something that can be used later on a different system, whether it's for you or someone else. For newer compilers, the iOS_base class is the base for OFStream and IOFStream. A couple of classes are in between. OFStream is a template class derived from a template class called basic_OFStream, which is derived from a template class called basic_iOS, which is derived from the class iOS_base. You can view a simplified diagram of these classes at, oh, that's nice. I wonder if that's still relevant. You guys can check it out if you're interested. Me, I'm not so much. http://www.c++, spelled out plus+, /reference/iostream/. You can also read from an existing file. This works just like the CIN object. The file read01 example shown in listing 1-2 opens the file created by listing 1-1 and reads the string back in. This example uses the parent directory again as a common place to create, update, and read files. All right. Oh, okay. That cool. Sorry, Lexi Bear, I kind of missed what that is. Brian Hardina says, anybody that can't read my code is their problem. Yeah, I bet. See, my problem is I have that BA in writing, so I just love making comments. And then I was having GitHub Copilot, and it just made the process so much simpler. I'm like, let me put my degree to work. Let me put both of them to work. Now that I have both of them. That's so weird. I have a master's in computer science. Okay. Here we go. Listing 1-2. Using code to open a file and read from it. A truck. Oh, thank you. I understand now. Thank you very much. Ooh. Yeah, that was pretty cool. I love seeing that. Like, and that was a big old truck. Not the kind of truck you usually see a lady driving around. Like, it was like a big old truck. It was, it was a pickup truck, but it was like one of those, like, boat-sized pickup truck. Anyway, focusing. Include iostream, include upstream, include string, using. Oh, and where we were was a place where a lot of vets frequent. So that was just so nice to see. Using namespace standard, int, main, string word, iostream in file, myfile.txt, in file, word, cout, word, inline, infile.close, return 0. When you run this application, the string rate written earlier to the file in listing 1-1, hi, appears on screen. It worked. It read the string in from the file. All right, friends, that is it for today's reading. Woo! Hopefully that's enjoyable. But on the plus side, that's page 624 that we're on and almost done with. And let's see. And I got half a mind to try to keep going to chapter. Oh, I'm going to do that. Ooh, we're so close. Chapter 2, people. All right, I'm going to take a quick break, though. Here I go. No, I didn't have to. Gee, Louise. Anyway, Mr. Jokes. That was a good one. But no, thankfully. Those are a lot more spontaneous. If I had do that, I don't know if I would have just taken a break or if I had in the stream, because that, like, I have to go a number one so often. I have it down to a science. Lisa smiled. I did. Thank you for that. Gosh, you're just too much, but in a good way though. Okay, let's see. Yay! So we're actually like this close to chapter 2, and then let's see how much further we are till we'll. Whoa! What? No way. Okay, so we'll close out chapter 1, and then pick up next time that we do a C++ all of the live stream from there. But the wonderful news is right here. 680, 681. That's going to be it. That's the very last book in this particular edition or whatever of C++ All-In For Dummies. There's a third, I believe it's edition. Yes, it's 6 books in one. That means book 6 is coming around the corner, which means a lot of this is appendix, which means we're almost done. And also this here, this part, the boost, that's all new for me. All new. And also one of the most interesting parts about this book, because it's supposed to give a lot of like shortcuts effectively, which could be really cool to play around with when I start coding again. Super psyched. All right, let's continue. So again, we're going to just go ahead and finish up book 5, chapter 1. Handling errors when opening a file. That's also nice to know. When you open a file, all kinds of things can go wrong. A file lives on a physical device, a fixed disk, for example, or perhaps on a flash drive or SD card. And you can run into problems when working with physical devices. For example, part of the disk might be damaged, causing an existing file to become corrupted. Or less disastrous, you might run out of disk space. Or even less disastrous, you might try to open a file in a directory that doesn't exist. Huh? Oh no, James. My asthma, allergy, sinuses, all of that combined and conspired against me. So I had to take a break. And then it was like, oh, dang, spring forward, boo. So I'm like, let me just go a little longer with this break so I'm not completely feeling that hour lost for too long. But I am going to be doing a little later tonight, sometime after 4 p.m. my time, a quick 20-minute Sunday dance break. So if you're still here to hear that message, and if you're interested, you should keep an eye out on my next stream, which will be Sunday Dance Break Live. Probably, we could try and make it at least in part a request thing, but not all requests. That takes too long. That's just me staring off into the camera for too long. Plus, we're just getting, it's not Game Hearts right now. Sorry, Neva. Okay. Tip. If you try to open a file, what I like about this chapter is there's not too much stuff to show. That's great. Tip. If you try to open a file for writing by specifying a full path and file name, but the directory doesn't exist, the computer responds differently, depending on the operating system you're using. If you're not sure how your particular operating system will respond, try writing a simple test application that tries to create and open something like ceiling. Okay. /ABC /DEF /GHI /GKL /ABC.txt. Of course, you'll want to be sure to use a directory that doesn't exist. We're assuming /ABC /DEF /GHL GHI /DKL doesn't exist on your hard drive. Then one of two things will happen. Either the directory and the file will get created, or nothing will happen. For example, on a Windows system, if we attempt to create a file in a directory that doesn't exist, the system does not create the directory. Huh? I think they mean the file. That's because deep down inside, the application ultimately calls an operating system function that does the dirty work of creating the file. What? And this particular operating system function, it's called create file, if you even care, has a rule that will not create a directory for it. What? Create the directory? What? Hold on, let me back up. What? Oh, okay, this is talking about directory. I just got confused. If you want to determine whether OStream class was enabled to create a file, you can call its fail member function. This function returns true if the object couldn't create the file, and that's what happens when a directory doesn't exist. The directory check01 example shown in listing 1-3 demonstrates an example of this. All right, let's look at that. Oh, thankfully these are like really easy listings that don't make me feel like I want to pull my hair out. Yay! Good times. All right, listing 1-3. Returning. Ooh, let's hold the book nicely. Maybe, I don't know. That's the funny part. We're getting so far done with this book that I can't even hold it. Okay, that's a little better. As I conclude IOStream, FStream using namespace standard. It mean OStream app file /ABC /DEF /GHI /myfile.txt. If out file.fail, cout couldn't open the file, inline, return 0. Out file, hi, inline, out file.close, return 0. Oof. When you run this code, assuming that you don't have a directory called /ABC /DEF /GHI on your system, you should see the message couldn't open the file. We're assuming also that your particular operating system doesn't create a directory in this case. If it does, your computer will open the file, write hi to it, and move on with its happy little life after closing things out. Sounds like a fun time. All right. As an alternative to calling the fail member function, you can use an operator available in various stream classes. This is really now. Okay. Exclamation point. Finally referred to as the bang. Oh, yeah, that's right. Oh, funny. The bang. Okay, the bang operator. And you would use it in place of calling fail, as in this code. If, well, they called it that, so bang out file. Cout couldn't open the file. Inline, return 0. Tip, bang not. Okay. Is that a code that does something? W's for the win. All right. You say so. All right. Double negatives. Yeah, we're about to feel like this is one of those inside jokes at this point. It's possible. Alright, let's see. It's funny though, because the fact that I've had so much time working in a classroom means that I can't be as much as a grammar enthusiast as I would like to be. But double negatives, though, just from a math standpoint, like, that's effectively you're multiplying a negative to a negative. But in that case, it's a positive. So that's a rare case when two wrongs do make a right, but not when you add. No adding is allowed for that. That's strictly speaking a good thing when you're multiplying. Okay, here we go. Tip: most people prefer to use bang out file instead of out file.fail, although our opinion is that bang out file stinks. In addition to its aromatic properties, we think it makes confusing code. The reason is that out file is an object, and in our brains, the notion of bang out file, which we would pronounce not out file. Ah, thank you. Not. That is double negative for the wind. I got you now. And okay, not out file simply doesn't make sense. In fact, not out file trips up many beginning programmers. They know that out file is not a pointer in the sample code, and they wonder how you could test it against zero as you normally can only do with a pointer. Remember, by saying not x, again with the exclamation with a bang. God, that's confusing. Hold on. I'm getting confused just trying to read this. Not x, where x is some pointer, you're testing x against zero. And that simply doesn't make sense. And so, to avoid confusion, we prefer to just call fail. It makes more sense. Yeah, I'm going to have to say I could see that. Here are some reasons your file creation may choke. The directory doesn't exist. You're out of disk space and out of luck. Story of my life. Your application doesn't have the right permissions to create a file. The file name is invalid. That is, it contains characters the operating system doesn't allow in a file name, such as asterisk or a question mark symbol. Remember, like any good application, your application should do two things. One, check whether a file creation succeeded. Two, if the file creation failed, handle it appropriately. Okay. Ryan Ardino saying not makes more sense. Why call another function? So, I don't know. But I have a feeling if you go to C++ All-In for Dummies and your favorite search bar, you'll find the latest version of this book, which currently, last time I checked, was the 4th edition. And there's probably some way you can comment to the authors. Like, from the standpoint of calling a function is annoying, okay, I could see that, especially when you're, avid on doing the debugging like I am, and you like to go through the code through the debugger. It's one less thing you have to get into when you don't have a function. But also from the standpoint of typing, it's less to type, but I gotta say something like a GitHub Copilot kind of helps with that part. So, I think it's more a preference. And again, they were saying for like beginning coders, but you're very experienced, so you wouldn't throw things off, and you don't care about if somebody, that's true. If x does not equal 1, do something. See, in that sense, when you use the exclamation point like in that sense. Like, for instance, that would also work great for MATLAB. That's great. I agree. Because I can see, because my silly self went and got a master's of science degree in computer science, I see what the overlap between math and computer science is. But there's a lot of people who didn't do all of that and just are strictly coming at it from a programming standpoint and might miss how that makes sense and how that also applies to what they do. Frankly, one of the things I like about MATLAB is being able to just mathify things, or like other kinds of functional programming. Okay, so 2, if the file creation failed, handle appropriately. Don't just print a horrible message like, "It's aborting," leaving the poor users with no choice but to toss the monitor into the floor. Instead, do something friendlier, such as freezing a message telling them there's a problem and suggesting that they might freeze more disk space. There are other reasons not covered in this book, such as the lack of rights to the area of disk where the file is written. You need to perform application testing to locate them all, and then provide error handling for each potential issue. Fun. Soren said one doesn't need anything about high school math to program 90% of the things. No, I hear you. Agreed. I completely agree. I'm just saying, if I had like come at this differently and not try to pursue the computer science, my life probably would have been simpler, but also I could see where I still to this day wouldn't see why it was that I, as a prerequisite, had to take through discrete math. Because you don't need to have all of that to code. Flagging the iOS flags. When you open a file by constructing either, if anything, it just makes people more hoity-toity when they have to go and pursue higher than high school math. So, call me hoity-toity. I don't know. When you open a file by constructing either an auto upstream or iStream instance, you can modify the way the file will open by supplying what are. But that being said, like one time I went to, effectively, it was kind of like, what was it? It was an opportunity for some of his grad students to go meet up with some people who were trying to get some input into how they can better the program for future students, sort of thing. And it came up where there wasn't enough majors for practical topics that would actually help them for if they were just trying to do coding and not all the hoity-toity stuff. So I don't know, maybe that's something that they were able to, not yet Nightbot, deal with. Maybe that's something they were able to work on. Flagging the iOS flags. Brian Idea says they couldn't do computer science in high school due to only math basic classes and not AP. Skipped class in ninth grade to go to computer science, and I screwed with the teacher. I hear him. Yeah, I was struggling big time in math for high school, and I was just so happy to just be done, even though it was a bad time. Like, okay, so I ended up math by taking pre-calc and trig for high school, and I ended up getting, what was it? A D, I believe it was a D in pre-calc, and failed. No, the other way. D in trig and failed pre-calc. So I had to take both for summer school. And then the best I could do was push everything up a level. So I ended up getting a C for trig, and a D for pre-calc. And then that was it for my high school math experience. And that's why when I did decide to go and try and do computer science as a grad school, because by then it didn't make any fiscal sense, well, at the time, to try and get, because I already had a bachelor's for writing. So at the time, it didn't make any fiscal sense to get a secondary bachelor. It made more fiscal sense at the time to get the master's. So with the prerequisites being required for people who didn't already have a bachelor's in computer science, being I had to go through at least discrete math, and that meant I had to go and figure out pre-trig, not pre-trig, trig and pre-calc again. And I was not trying to take those classes again because of the epically hard time I had in high school with those classes. So that's when I prepared for like a year and a half by way of Khan Academy and Alex Math, ALEKS, to effectively get over the math anxiety I had been carrying for like 10 years, and also relearn everything required in order so that I was able to go ahead and pass the pre-calculus challenge test. So I didn't have to take trig and pre-calc again, but instead just started off into calculus 1. Flagging the iOS flags. When you open a file by constructing either an OF stream or IF stream instance, you can modify the way the file will open by supplying what are called flags. In computer terms, a flag is simply a small item whose presence or lack of presence tells the function how to do something. With the OF stream and IF stream classes, the function in question is the constructor. A flag looks like iOS : app. If you're using a compiler that is not fully ANSI compliant, or looks like iOS_base : app if you're using one that is fully ANSI compliant. This particular flag means that you want to write to a file, but you want to append to any existing data that may already be in a file. You supply this flag as an argument of the constructor for OSTream as in either of the following examples. OSTream out file, appendable file.txt, iOS : app, OFstream out file, appendable file.txt, iOS_base : app. You can see that we added the flag as a second parameter to the constructor. Other flags exist besides app, and you can complete them by using the or. Oh, hi, Gosha is cool. Gosha is cool. Gosha? Still don't know which. Oh, you can learn math? Oh, fun. I'm thinking of, okay. I'm thinking of starting some streams that just involve me, like, doing math and boring things that I think are fun. I'm thinking of trying to get back to tutoring, but also it's kind of a pain trying to do tutoring. So I don't know. But at the very least, it'll be fun to just geek out on some STEAM education things. You can you can see that the added sorry. I'll just start that again. You can see that we added the flag as a second parameter to the constructor. Other flags exist besides op, and you can combine them by using the or operator. Okay, so in this case, or is the pipe symbol, which for people, like I didn't even realize this until I started having to code for my operations systems class, and we had to use this to do things, and we called it pipe, but here they're calling it or, which is interesting because that was C and this is C++, but regardless, we had to do piping. That being said, it was for operating systems, so it's probably more so not a thing specifically for C, but a thing specifically for what was that? The shell we were making that had to be able to make things happen. For example, one flag is iOS : no create, which isn't included in new compilers, but we show you how to overcome this limitation later in this section. This one means only open the file if it already exists. That is, don't create the file if it doesn't exist. Remember, OFStream creates a file if it doesn't already exist. If the file doesn't exist, the open will fail, and when you call fail, you will get back a true. The iOS : no create flag is handy with iOS : app. Together, these mean open existing file and append to it. That is, the two together will work only if the file already exists, and the call will open the file for an append operation. If the file doesn't already exist, the file won't be created. Here's a sample call. OFStream out file myfile.txt iOS : app or iOS : no create. If out file.fail, cout couldn't open the file, inline return 0. Outline hi inline outfile.close. If myfile.txt doesn't exist, when you run this code, you get the message couldn't open the file. But if myfile.txt does exist, the application opens it, appends the string hi to it, and finally closes it. Tip. It turns out that the no create file is not available in the new standard library. Bummer. Therefore, the code we just gave you works only if you're using an earlier version of the library, which when using the code : blocks compiler, you see the following error message. Error : no create is not a member of standard : iOS. However, you'll want to test whether your particular compiler includes a library that supports iOS : no create. Your compiler may support it anyway, even if it includes the new standard library. As an alternative to iOS : no create, you can use the following code found in the file output 02 example. If stream in file myfile.txt, if in file.fail, cout couldn't open the file, inline return 0, in file.close, OFStream out file myfile.txt, iOS : app out file hi inline out file.close. In this case, you begin by attempting to open the file for reading. If the file doesn't exist, you can't read from it, and the code exits with a failure message. If the code can read from the file, it reopens the file for writing. This is a cumbersome workaround, but it works. Following is a list of the available flags. First, there are the ones for iOS, in case you're using a compiler that is not completely ANSI compliant. iOS : app. This flag means that you want to open a file and append to it. iOS : in. Include this flag if you want to read from a file. iOS : out. Include this file if you want to write to a file. iOS : trunc, spelled TRUNC. Include this flag if you want to wipe out the contents of the file before writing to it. It's the opposite of append, and it's also the default if you don't specifically include iOS : app. iOS : no create. Use this flag if you want to ensure that the file will not be created if it doesn't exist, resulting in the file not being opened. iOS : no replace. This flag is the opposite of no create. Use this flag if you only want to create a file. If you use the flag and the file already exists, the file will not open, and that failure will return true. ANSI compliant compilers don't support the iOS : no replace flag either. In this case, you can use the opposite of the fix for the iOS : no create flag, as shown here and found in file output 03 example. Fstream in file, myfile.txt, if not in file.file, see out the file already exists, inline, return 0, in file.close, upstream of file, myfile.txt, up file, hi, inline, up file.close. In this case, the code attempts to open a file for reading. If the file exists, the code shows an error message and exits. Otherwise, the code creates a new file and writes to it. The following flags are available in a compiler that's absolutely ANSI compliant: iOS : ATE. Usually, use this flag to go to the end of the file after you open it. Normally, we use this flag when you want to append data to the file. iOS base binary. Use this flag to specify that the file you're opening will hold binary data. That is, data that does not represent character strings. iOS base (n). Specify this flag when you want to read from a file. iOS base (out). Include this flag when you want to write a file. iOS base (trunc). Include this flag if you want to wipe out the contents of a file before writing to it. iOS base (app). Truncate. Include this flag if you want to append to the file. It's the opposite of trunc. That is, the information that's already in the file, when you open it, will stay there. Remember, why you need an in flag why do you need an in flag and an out flag? It seems that the computer should know whether you're writing to a file or reading from it, depending, respectively, on whether you use OFstream or IFstream. The answer to why you have an in flag and an out flag is that other classes are available besides OFstream and IFstream. Compilers that don't yet fully support the ANSI standard have a generic class in their libraries called Fstream. The ANSI compliant compilers have in their libraries a template class called basic_filebuff and a class called filebuff. If you use these classes, you can use the in and out flags. Congratulations. That's a blank page, which means chapter 2, which means, woo, progress. So we're about 50 pages from closing out book 5. Woo, woo, woo. Okay. Yay, progress. Hopefully I figure out the laptop situation so I can get back to cooking time. That'd be awesome. I would like that so much. Okay. In the meantime, it's not like there aren't apps that I could try to do. I just rather type on a keyboard, a full keyboard. Anyway, here we go. Okay, 5 minutes, close out the chat, and 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And, okay, now. Ooh, I should drink some water time. That'd be good to do. I got dehydrated. I'm bad at that. Ooh, I feel like all of yesterday I had like one of these big cups of water, and that's not exactly smart to do. Okay. So after this, I'm going to have personal time. I should eat some lunch. That would be smart. And then the goal would be a dancing stream where there's only 20 minutes of dancing time. Then likeliness, I would go have making my food time, eating my food time, just me. Then get things set up so I can try and get some Kingdom Hearts time. The goal would be like 2 hours. Thankfully, I already know where I'm going for work tomorrow. It's the same place I was at last week, so that's a plus. Just have to make sure I prep everything I need to for tomorrow. So I already got the ball started on that. So I've got to continue that part. And okay. Okay, no, nobody has anything. Oh, there's still some time on the clock. Let's see. Alrighty. You want to trade work? I have to stay home and do dumb training. Nah. I don't like staying home and doing dumb training, actually. I'm still trying to figure out my summer. So I haven't heard back from the sub-teaching company. So I assume that was a no. I think that's a fair assumption to make. And I'm not like sad if it's a no, because I was thinking about, I'm like, I feel like that just adds some unnecessary complication to my time that I don't need help finding work. I should more so be focusing on the times where I do need help finding work. So I don't know. And I was talking with my boyfriend, and it's like, should I find a job that's not 8? I wish it was 8 to 4 would be awesome, but that's like not really a thing, I don't think. But like a 9 to 5, Monday through Friday thing. But I feel like that's also not very smart to do, because then I'm not gonna be able to help him with his stuff, and he really does need the help as much as he might want to act like he doesn't. So I don't know. Well, at least you get a break from the traveling. Alright, so I think I have 4 hours of work for the whole week. Going to punch in 40, and if they fire me, well, okay. I guess. Well, I say I'm gonna just end when the timer rings, but this is a good opportunity to get my hair ready for what I'm trying to get ready for. I'll be back. Oh, this is an excellent setup for this particular thing. All right. I probably should not have read that. Okay. Still rocking my quads. I do not have all day and forever to do hair stuff. It's much simpler to just keep the quads. I mean, that was time, but also I'm doing my hair now, so worth it. Okay, bonus hair time. Let's go. I don't know. I'm thinking trying out some Sundays to go and try and do some door dashing time. Because back in the day when I used to be like more into trying to do that kind of thing, Sundays tend to be the best days. Because people tend to be pretty much whatever. So traffic never seemed like a problem and parking was a lot simpler. Especially when you gotta go downtown. And at least at the time, they weren't charging for parking, but I feel like it's probably different now. Because I remember I was checking out some local news thing, and they were saying that they're going to start not having free parking on weekends, which is a bummer. Mellow, mellow, mellow. Earthquake. Oh no. Hopefully not a bad one. That's not good. Hopefully it is a minor one. Crazy year for catastrophes. I will say that much. First LA fires, and now it looks like an earthquake just happened in somewhere in the same area. Oh, that's nice. Ryan says I don't go anywhere where I have to pay to park unless work is going to pay for it. I hear that. That comes in handy, being able not to worry about paying for work. See, that's the thing I got to get used to. Being a student, every time you got to pay for the parking, even the community college. But I did get like that last semester. Nobody was paying for it, and I got tired of paying. Because when you don't have the student parking pass, you end up paying more. Because at the time, they didn't have the budget-friendly option available. That's something they just started this school year. So I just got so tired of having to come out paying more money when I could have just had the dang student parking pass. So I just went ahead and got it. And I just recently received a check getting recompensated for that. It went to some kind of bills. I got too many dang bills. And my rent's too dang high. And I haven't figured out how to make my income higher yet. Oh well. I miss having cheap rent. That was the best. But hey, all good things come to an end and all that jazz. So true. Thank you, Lance. Hey, I have to say, it's been nice not having so much trolling going on. It's been a super break from all the trolls. Or as Ryan says, the creepy trolls. But yeah, there haven't been much trolling going on. That's been kind of nice. Starting today, I'll probably be back at it. Something about the dancing streams just brings the trolls out. I kept trying to explain to my brother, because he's all like, oh, okay. In some cases, I agree with, like with Ryan, probably. He's like, it doesn't really matter what you're doing. They just want to hear you talk. But number wise, yes. But you're a troll I like, though. Ryan Redina. But yeah, he's like, oh yeah, they don't really care about the dancing. They just want to hear you talk. But honestly, like when it comes to the numbers, it's just, it's inescapable. The dancing streams, particularly to copyrighted music, just get all the numbers. The other thing I can see is, since I've been doing fewer dancing streams, I've been seeing the watch hours climb a whole lot, like, quicker than they were doing when I was just mainly doing the dancing streams. So I think there has been some kind of block. But it could just be that I've been doing fewer. You're right, Ryan. You're the only troll here. Well, I guess you'll get to enjoy some other trolls in the mix soon. If you're interested. Hopefully not as many of the creepy trolls that you were talking about. Alright. So, as far as laptops go, I was at Walmart and I was seeing what they had over there, like the one that had like the... Anyway, I'm like basically sold on it. But I texted my boyfriend about it and I didn't get a response. So I'm like, okay. So I don't want to just go run out and do something without him giving the okay on it. But also I'm like, how the heck? See, I go and get payments. How the heck am I going to do that? Then I got to figure out how to pay for all this dental crap I need. And on top of that, I need to get my credit card back on the right track. But I still have to deal with all of the regular expenses and figure out rent still. It's like, the hey. So annoyed. Okay, that's one. I think that's all the way through. But yeah, that's why I keep it in quads, because it keeps the tingling way down. The less tingling stuff goes, the way quicker it is to just, especially with the midweek resets that I try to do. Okay, that's one. Oh boy. Yeah, I'm not quite 100 with whatever, but still good. Still doing way better than I was when things start going wonky with my allergies and stuff. Okay. What happened? Hold on. What? Okay, hold on. What happened? Something is off. Oh, that's what's off. Okay. Am I missing? I feel like I'm missing. What did I do? Okay, hold on. Am I just off? Is this just the wrong... Did I put too much on that side? I'm curious. Alright, here's all my stuff. Let me bathroom time this because I need my mirrors. Okay. Because I feel like I should have more hair going on that side than I do. I guess that's fine. It's not too bad. Just looks weird. All right. Okay. All right, so what time is it? 1:47. Okay. Oh, maybe it just seemed like off because it was too loose. No, that seems... Oh, okay. That's fine. Okay. This wasn't too bad for 2 weeks worth of not washing. Ugh, but that's why I can't be lazy today. All right. Thanks, Ryan. Well, hopefully you will be checking out Dancing Time. That's coming up sometime after 4. When, I don't know yet. So hopefully you'll be available because it's been a long break from Dancing Time. So it'd be great if you were able to make it. But if not, no worries. I am planning on getting back to trying to do the everyday Dancing Time. So we'll see. All right. Thank you, Ryan or Dina, for making into the stream and last stream. It's definitely great to spend some time with you. And thank you for anyone else who made it in and who might check this out. And whenever, wherever, however, whatever, just make the most of it, including your training. That's the most important part. Bye-bye.